You said something when you said, um, I would go to the leadership, but they have enough to do, and so I don't feel like I can. That right there is the most common misconception.
I know. It's
That's the
terrible, isn't it?
problem. It
I
is,
know.
because leaders are there to lead their teams to manage the process. They are not there to manage the process. That's what managers do. Managers manage the process. Leaders lead the team to manage the process. We have far too many managers in our profession and we don't have enough leaders. That's the biggest problem that we
Mm,
have. And a leader is the person that sets the tone for the organization and for the team. And so, if you had, even in that community pharmacy, a leader who is insistent upon a lunch break, right? Whether that means shutting, and there's many pharmacies where they will say, the pharmacist is on lunch at the moment. If you need to pick up your prescription, you need to come back, or they will advertise it and say the pharmacist will be on lunch from 12:30 till 1 today, so we won't be able to serve you effectively at that time. Where does that come from? The leadership. If the leadership
yeah.
decrees that that's what's going to happen in that particular branch, then that is what will happen. Now, whether it's a multiple or an independent or whatever it is by the by. Leadership is leadership. And so when you're saying, how is this still able to happen? Why isn't this changing? It's because the leadership isn't changing it.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I completely agree with you on that. I just find it's mind-boggling to
In
me
this day
that
and age,
we're
it is.
yeah.
And those leaders who prioritize well-being, their well-being and the well-being of their teams, they're the ones that have teams that never want to leave them. And
Mm,
I've been in some of those teams, and I left not because I was leaving my manager. It's because actually I was moving up, and I was effectively, it was a promotion from my previous position, so it was more career development and advancement than it was leaving my last manager. But I have also left a couple of roles where I have left the manager. I was very fortunate to have two amazing managers very early on in my career, and unfortunately they set the bar so high that what I followed after that was two not so great leaders. And I really struggled with that because I'd had two leaders who lived to develop me, and that's what a good leader does. They develop their team effectively. You're effectively developing your team so that they will leave you. That's the whole point.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's when you're doing a good job, because
Yeah, no,
you learn
you're
that through
completely
putting that
right.
person first. And yeah, so it just, when you've kind of had that good leadership, and it's what actually pushes and drives me, is that I know the difference between having a good leader and a bad leader. And so if I can help some of the leaders in our profession to be better, to look after themselves better and to look after their teams better, that's got to be a better, that to me is a real demonstrable outcome, rather than giving pharmacists counselling services. And I'm not knocking that at all, because it has its place, but there just isn't enough on the prevention side. There just isn't enough looking at, why
Yeah,
is
I'm
this
with you.
even a problem? Why is this a problem, and what can we do to resolve it? And
Mm.
actually, should we be giving our leaders the skills that they need in order to develop their teams, and to be able to question, because they can, because they're in the position to question, just because something's been the status quo for 20, 30 years doesn't make it right.